Seth swaggered into morning meeting 10 minutes late. Phone in hand, eyes glazed, confident I had ghostwritten his client report again. When the client called to say the numbers were nonsense, he smirked at me across the table. 2 hours later, he was white as paper, sweating through his shirt, whispering that Excel was broken. It was not. It was working exactly as planned. If you have ever carried someone who refuses to carry themselves, hit like right now. Subscribe if you believe work credit should go to the person who actually does the job. This is a story of how a quiet spreadsheet finally spoke for me. I work in a mid-sized office with a man I will call Seth. Every office is one. He cruises in late with a cup of coffee he did not pay for, offers a yawn and a traffic excuse, then drifts between his desk and the bathroom like a lost tourist. His chair is warm for perhaps 20 minutes out of the hour. He vanishes for lunch and reappears when it is time to go home. Yet he is a survivor, the sort who has learned how to wear confidence like armor. If something succeeds, he is there for the photograph. If something fails, he is nowhere to be found. For 6 months, his favorite trick was me. He would send a message that began with the same friendly opener each time. Could you help me tidy this up? What he meant was, please do it all and make me look good. The first few times I tried to be collegial. Everyone gets swamped sometimes. Then it became a pattern. He would promise our manager that he had a handle on the client deliverables, then quietly forward the work my way as if it were a natural part of my day. I tried the polite path. I flagged workloads to my boss. I documented emails. Each time, Seth wriggled free with a performance of innocence that would put a stage actor to shame. He leaned on phrases like overlap of responsibilities and team support and our shared success. He called himself a big picture person. That is office code for I do not know how to do the details, and I do not intend to learn. The final straw was a major client report due in 48 hours. Seth landed at my desk with a grin and a stack of spreadsheets. He needed me to organize the data, check the calculations, compose a narrative, and format the slides. In other words, everything. He had already told the client he would deliver a clean and elegant analysis by Friday. He placed the files down and said my favorite line, "You are so good with this stuff." I paused. There is a physical feeling that comes with quiet anger. It does not shout. It tightens. I felt it in the center of my chest. I asked him a simple question. How comfortable are you with Excel? He chuckled and said he could do the basics, but prefers to stay high level. Perfect. When someone treats you as a permanent safety net, you have two choices. You can continue to hold them up, or you can step aside and let gravity teach the lesson. I chose gravity, with a little help from mathematics. I told Seth I would help. He dumped the spreadsheets onto a shared folder and went for a long lunch. I opened the files and took stock. Raw data on multiple tabs, lookup ranges, a few pivot tables, a raft of copied figures with no sources, sloppy but salvageable. The trick was not to sabotage actual work. It was to expose his habit. I built out a clean, auditable model for myself in a separate workbook, so the client's data was intact. Then, in the versions he insisted on using, I introduced what I would politely call teaching features. Hidden cells with benign formulas, named ranges that shifted if someone pasted across them without understanding relative references. A couple of helper columns positioned just outside the visible print area. If you know Excel, you know that careless copy and paste can strip references, duplicate formats, and scramble lookups. Everything I added was reversible and non-destructive, but it made lazy manipulation produce nonsense. In short, any person who took 5 minutes to understand the structure could spot and correct it. Any person who tried to wing it would find themselves in quicksand. I did not touch the conclusions. I did not alter the message. I only made sure that if Seth tried his usual routine of selecting blocks of cells and pasting them into a slide without checking sources, the numbers would not behave. Thursday arrived. I had my clean set of outputs ready in my private workbook. Seth had nothing. He rolled by my desk mid-morning and said, "How are we looking?" I replied that the data was in the folder he had shared. He nodded in that confident way that says he will take it from here. He sauntered back to his desk, opened my visible workbook, and began his favorite sport, Copy, paste, present. From across the aisle I saw it. The small frown, the second attempt, the heavy sigh. He clicked harder, as if aggression might fix arithmetic. He tried one sheet, then another. The totals shifted. The charts flickered. He made a small noise, half cough, half panic. He reopened the email from a client to confirm the due time. 2 hours. He came over and hovered. Quick question. Your file is behaving strange. The totals keep changing. I turned my chair slowly. Strange. That is odd. Did you maybe paste values on top of formulas? He muttered something about Excel glitches and hurried away. At noon, the client called. They had received a preview set, and the figures did not add up. Some categories were duplicated. Others were blank. Seth performed a little phone theater, full of confidence. Must be a rendering issue, he said. He promised an updated set in an hour. At 12:10, he was sweating. He tugged at his collar. He paced with his phone on loudspeaker, as if volume could rescue him. He tried to fix one table, then discovered 3 more inconsistencies. He asked me again to take a quick look. I joined him at his desk and scrolled. I asked the sort of questions any basic analyst would ask. Where is this lookup pulling from? What range are you referencing? He blinked. He did not know. I offered neutral advice. Perhaps check the named ranges. Perhaps stop pasting over formulas. Perhaps review the hidden columns. He clicked about and broke something else. Our manager noticed a commotion. She walked over, took in the fevered clicking, and asked for a status update. Seth explained that the file was glitching. She looked at me. I said calmly that my test model was stable and that if we took a beat to audit, we could tidy everything, but it might not make the top of the hour. She asked Seth why the model was not already stable. He said he had been focused on stakeholder communications. In other words, anything that did not involve doing the work. The client called again. This time they were not calm. They had tried to follow a figure to source, and it led to an empty cell. Seth promised a fix in 15 minutes. 15 minutes is a long time when you do not understand the machine in front of you. He made the classic error. He tried to correct one issue by pasting a clean set across the sheet. The named ranges shifted. The charts rolled into chaos. His face drained of color. He whispered to me that he needed me to rescue it. That quiet anger in my chest loosened, not with cruelty, but with relief. The day had arrived when my no would stand on its own. I said I could not re-engineer a 6-month bad habit in 15 minutes. I reminded him that he had presented this project as his own. He stared at the screen, then at me, and I watched the understanding land. He had walked himself here. Our manager asked us both into a small meeting room. She asked for a plain explanation. I kept it factual. I said I had provided structured data. I said I had signposted where formulas lived. I said the person producing the final report needed to understand how the numbers were built. She turned to Seth. He had no sturdy answers left. The language of the big picture had finally run out of oxygen. He returned to his desk and attempted one more patch job. The client declined the update and requested a call with our manager. The call was brief. When it ended, our manager stepped out with a face that said the matter was now bigger than a deadline. She informed Seth he would be placed on temporary leave while the firm reviewed the incident. No pay. Immediate effect. He nodded, small and shaken, and gathered his things. The office felt quieter after he left. Not peaceful, just honest. That evening I stayed late and sent the client the correct version built from my clean workbook. Every figure linked. Every source transparent. They received what they had paid for. Our manager thanked me privately, but more important than praise was the new baseline. The person who does the work must be the person who speaks for it. A week later, a formal notice went round. New policy. Any report would carry the name of the person who built it, not merely the person who presented it. Ownership would be visible. Credit and accountability would finally sit in the correct chairs. The payoff was not loud. It did not need to be. It arrived in 3 movements. First, the moment in the meeting room when Seth discovered that confidence cannot balance a spreadsheet. I watched his posture change. The shoulders slumped. The eyes flicked to the floor. He realized that this time the safety net had stepped aside, and left him to meet his own promises. Second, the phone call with the client. Our manager spoke in clear, steady sentences. She apologized for confusion and assured them that the analyst who produced the model would deliver the corrected version. She used the word analyst to refer to me. Titles matter. They signal who carries the weight. Third, the email that followed. Temporary leave without pay. Performance review pending. The glib smile that had flowed him through half a year finally cracked. He packed a drawer that had never held much more than snacks and a spare charger and walked out quietly. No grand exit. Just a man learning that you cannot outsource responsibility forever. For me, the release was simple. I went for a walk at lunch and noticed my shoulders had dropped. I did not have to brace for his footsteps anymore. My hands felt steady. The knot in my chest was gone. People think revenge is about fireworks. Most of the time it is about clarity. You return the problem to the person who made it. You stop shielding them from the lesson, and then you let competence do the talking. My spreadsheet did not punish anyone. It simply refused to carry a lie. If this story hit a nerve, give it a like. Drop a comment with the laziest office stunt you have ever seen. And subscribe for more stories where effort wins, credit lands in the right place, and a quiet plan turns the lights on.